Welcome to this short video on Flux, the SecOps card game. So Flux is a cyberpunk card game that I built in about 40 hours using AI-assisted development. That's also called vibe coding. What I'd like to do is to show you what's possible with vibe coding and how to do it in a slow way like I do in order to be able to build something similar yourself. In other words, we're vibe coding with purpose. So this is a kind of a SecOps card game. You may not be interested in card games. You may not be interested in security operations. You may not be interested in red hat, blue hat, cyber skills. But you probably are looking at this because you're interested in vibe coding and what you can actually achieve without having to write a single line of code. So I've played card games for a long time. I've taught software development, software design. I've actually used this example of this card game in my software development classes. And I decided that with all the AI activity of late, and with all the tools that are available, I would see if I could do the work myself and build something that was high quality, didn't require any coding, and I could build it over time, a little bit at a time. So when I talk about 40 hours, I'm talking about 40 hours of design, development, testing, deployment, doing all of those features that you might have with working with a real world app. So here we go. So we'll enter the terminal. So this tells us a little bit about what Flux state is. We have this red hat accelerator class. That's one kind of attacker you could play. You could be a blue hat player where you're going to be a defender. Now it tells you in the bottom here, you have the control playstyle for the blue hat is focused on draining resources and stalling the opponents, trying to stop the people breaking in. So are specialists in dissipating attacks and also with deck manipulation in terms of this game here. Red hat then, their aggressive playstyle, they're focusing on overloading the opponent's system. They specialize in high generation surge attacks. They have particular class skills, like Red Hat class has an extra generator in hand. They use this to make attacks. And the blue hat people have this dissipator in hand, so it helps to with defense. So if you want a little bit more about the game, you can play and see, what the primary directive, engage in cyber warfare against an AI opponent, and your goal is to destabilize the enemy system lead by forcing it above 100 or below 0. So, the operational philosophy here for the game, the system architecture, we have generators, we have dissipators, they're kinds of cards. We have daemons, these are traps. We have instants, these are events that you can play one-time things like surge, equivalent to a DDoS attack, for example, drains, which might be power cuts. We have these anomalies as well, and these anomalies are global environment variables. Let's say you had a network outage or something went wrong. So they represent network conditions that are outside of the control of the actual player. And you can have glitches. Sometimes we have these things called glitches, so we can play and have fun with glitches as well. I know that I've used a lot of the cyber language here, which is kind of necessary for this kind of game, but I've built this cyber lexicon into the game where you can actually find out what all these various terms mean. You can see some are actual technical terms like daemons, and so it's a hidden trap card in this game installed on the system tray, and they trigger when a specified conditions are met. But in we have daemons in operating systems as well. Anomalies, crashes, reboots, all of these things feature, and you can search the cyber lexicon and see what happens if you don't understand something. I have a cards library, so here are some nice library cards, all generated in game. We have the different types: generators, dissipators, instants, specials, anomalies, and this one that generates 5 loads per turn. And we'll see a little bit about how those work as we work through the game. So there's quite a lot of cards here. You don't have to know them all instantly. This is the system archives, and this allows me to be able to record games and play against AI, and then record that game and look at it afterwards in terms of trying to improve the quality of the game or the decks that I've pre-built. So it's a testing systems harness that's already built in, but it also allows me to replay games. And it's useful for players who want to look and see, well, how did I do, what went wrong, how do I improve my game, and so forth. And we have some system setups as well. You can change the layout of the boards, the color of preferences, the card designs in the back. And I also have this small section down here, which we'll come to a little bit later, which is a tactical analysis section and an autopilot section. So this is really about letting you get help from your AI in addition to playing against the computer's AI. And this will, tactical analysis gives you hints for what you should play next time, and autopilot will take full control of your hand and start playing it as well. It's very, very useful for me when I'm designing and testing games and testing decks, for example. And here are some decks. I want to see how well these are playing and how well they fare against other decks. And I can have a log of all that kind of stuff there as well. So it's very, very useful, and I can run 100 of these overnight and come back and see, well, what's working, what's not working, where do I need to improve. I can create decks if I wish, create my own decks, and it's a really nice deck builder, so I create a red deck and I can drag and drop cards into this, and I have the list, and you can see I can build up all of these decks, and it gives me an efficiency curve as well for the data. There are constraints around this. I have to have a minimum of 15 cards. You can't have we call a CPU load or a loading associated with each card, and we can't exceed 500. So the idea is to try to have some kind of balance there. And so that's not so bad. We can save it if we want, we can cancel it, but let's choose a deck that's here. And you can see here the cards that are in the deck, and we can view the cards, look at the cards and see what's in here. We could export this if we wanted, and if we'd made our own deck, we could actually export that and share it with somebody else. So we can confirm the deck. I mentioned earlier that in real life, and real world networks, something can go wrong that's outside of the control, and you have to be able to deal and handle with that. And that's simulated internally in the game with these things called field anomalies. And so these anomalies allow us to be able to choose a kind of scenario that we can work with. So we might want to instigate some kind of effect where we can disrupt the other player. Of course, they can do this as well. So we can choose one, for example. For example, we can choose this one here where the radiation spikes. The generators produce an extra load. Can be dangerous if you're a red player because you're generating a load anyway and you don't want to happen. You want to be careful you can manage this. But let's say your deck can handle it. So when you see it, the link starts the game. So now we have the actual gameplay, and you'll see what's happening is that my solar flare anomaly was played. The AI player played theirs, and the system itself played a different one as well. So you can see we get an extra 2 cards at the beginning of a draw instead of 1. You can see, let's see what all this looks like. So we have a help system overlay built. So this is the enemy's hand. This is the target. So I'm going to basically attack this target and reduce their network rack to being inoperable. So I can reduce it by freezing it and stopping it, or I can overheat it and break it. These are the field anomalies, as I mentioned earlier. This is my system integrity here. This is the zone A. These are accelerators or generators. So I can use this to create red cards, and these cards can be used then to increase my loading every turn. And it allows me to build up power, which ultimately I want to unleash on my opponent. And of course, you can't just build up power. You need to be able to dissipate some of your own power as well. So this is how you do this. You play these dissipators. And we have these things where the daemons, and it's what we call a system tray, and that's where these things run, and they watch for our opponent to do something. And we plan in advance that they may play a particular kind of attack, and we'll then wait for it, trigger it, and then disrupt that play. This tells about my bandwidth, and my bandwidth is basically I have only a certain amount of energy every turn, and this increases as turns progress. And so every card has a bandwidth, and sometimes you'll get and draw cards that you won't be able to play. That's probably not a good idea. So you need to balance your deck construction and building to ensure that that will work. This is my execute command that goes, and this allows me to be able to play some AI on my side as well if we want. And this is my hand down here. And these are my controls, so I can, do all sorts of fun things. I can manage the audio. This is the main menu as well, which I can access from within the game board too. What's really interesting, you can see that everybody has a perspective. So if you look, you'll see that this player, all their cards are upside down. So let me play a card first, let's see. So I'm playing this, so I'll play a card from my hand. So I'm going to generate 2 load per time. So I'm going to play this card here, and so now I can see my cards are here. So we wait and see what AI does. So AI is playing a card. Only after playing one that actually mills my deck. So he's after getting rid of one of my cool cards, which is my firewall card, which would have been a daemon I would have played here next turn had I drawn it. But you can see the AI players' cards are up here. They're playing blue, so they're mostly defense, and I'm playing red, so I mostly attack. But let's say I want to see what they're. It's hard to read this upside down. Hard to see their rack upside down. So I've built this function here where you can actually now look at the game from their perspective. So, I'm seeing what everything is reversed, so I can see it's liquid cooling twice. And I can actually twist it again so that all cards are facing me. So it's a feature I've come across, I haven't come across, sorry, in these online card games. I like to be able to change the orientation of the cards, might be give you a bit of a tabletop feel and so forth, so it's quite nice. You'll notice the blue hat here for the Silencer class and the red hat for me. And you'll see which turn we're on. We're on cycle 2, for example. So let me put that back again. So we're playing as let me actually just, so I can see everything just happen. It might be easy for you to see. So it's my turn again. Let's say I don't know what to play. So I can click here and I can tell me that I can shuffle their deck. So that's a good play. So I'm not building up heat, because I'm building up heat already 55 here. So I could, first of all, shuffle their deck, okay, just to mess up whatever they may have planned, if they've planned anything. And also, it should probably generate foreload if I want to do that. So AI, I don't want to actually do that this time, to be honest. What I'd like to actually do is cool, okay? So now each turn I'm cooling, so I'm generating and cooling. Oh, and actually it's gone, okay? I can't actually play that. Oh, it's there. Yeah, it's there. So we're good. So what I'd like to do now, just to show you how things play out, is, and you can see that you can see what's happening, and the load is there, how much is generated, how much is not generated. I'm still in a state where I'm trying to fix the AI. For me, I didn't like the play it recommended here, but we'll see how it goes. So we can fix this anyway a little bit later. So now let me go to my system. Okay, and I go down here and I say, let's look at autopilot. So I've now switched to autopilot, and you'll see here we have a little green robot over here in the corner. So I'm just going to say go. And now what's happening is that AI is going to play for me and see what happens. So we'll watch a quick game. It may be good, it may not be good. I'm red class, so it's generating, building up, and you can see it's after playing a second lot of cards here in the bottom left. We're heating up now, 67. If we don't do something with a card that will attack or use this force to break them, we lose. And it's no harm seeing we lose. I'm after glitching their deck to give them unusable cards. So I really need to draw a card soon, or I will meltdown. So this could be useful. Okay, destroy your own surge generator. And so now let's see what happens now if I play this. Okay, it's not too good. Come on, play this. And I lost. Okay, so my AI wasn't particularly good, but I have to work on that. It's something to do. I'll reboot my system. I'm back to the beginning and I can start again. But what I would like to show you before we do that is go to System Archives. And you can see now the last game was included here. And it told me, the player I played Critical Mass, and I was playing against Absolute Zero, which was the AI deck. And we can then see how everything happened. All the draws, all the cards, all the information, what the anomalies were. I can get a text log of what's happening in game, all of this stuff, and I can copy all this to the clipboard. I can save it, I can export it, I can import some and replay them. So from a playtesting point, and you can see I'm at a playtesting point. So that deck that I played, I probably could have done a better job myself than having the AI. So I need to be able to look and see what the AI is doing, and be able to improve it with this kind of data. So when I'm designing and building these games, I'm not just designing and vibe coding using AI. I'm engineered the full game. I engineered all the user interfaces. I designed all the graphics, all the cards, all the work that they do, all the animations, all the audio, which is switched off currently, and all of the testing that would certainly improve over time with this as well. So that's where I'm at. I will also use vibe coding to take all of the data from how those decks are playing against each other, AI versus AI, and then use it to improve the deck so that when I release the game for people to play, or give it to other playtesters to play for me, then it will probably be a little bit better. And when I say that I'm using AI, playing against the AI, this is traditional game-based AI, which is optimizing to see what the best play should be. It's not got a generative AI in the background doing the work. I could do that as well, actually, and that will happen a little bit later. But for now, this is where we are. Thank you very much for watching.